Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped. Something.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny. I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
All right. Parts, trailheads. Anything up?
Some somatic feelings in my left arm or in my heart.
Mm-hmm.
My left arm, I'm actually sort of holding with my left hand, I'm holding my right wrist.
Mm-hmm.
And almost wants to just pull that, my whole right arm across my body. There's a little bit of a sort of a tension in my whole left arm and fluttering in my heart.
Okay. All right. And how are you feeling towards it?
Feeling like it's maybe just a little bit of angst and caffeine-induced angst, thinking ahead, future. I think that's where there is some excitement and pending, wanting action.
Okay.
With the using the whole idea of getting into a routine. I feel that tension right now. I want it, or I need it, or I'm ready.
Okay. So the tension is saying, looking forward to wanting to get into routine.
Yeah. It's if I could do it in a day, I'd be so happy. Sort of like that tension. It just wants it now.
Yeah.
Not patient.
All right. Yeah. Okay. And what are its concerns? What happens if it doesn't get your attention that way?
as soon as you say concern, it almost feels like it let loose. There is no real concern.
Nice. It's a good problem to have.
There is no real concern. It's maybe perhaps just pent up.
All right.
I don't know, pent up like lustfulness or some sort of want of accelerating the process.
Okay.
I think time is sort of an anxious concept at the moment for me, maybe for others.
Yeah, just reflecting on the passage of time.
Passage of time, future time, past time. Notice how I don't say now, even though I feel good right now.
Okay. Yeah, so what do you want to learn from this part? What do you want to learn about it?
I guess what I want to learn is ask it what's the worst that can happen. I want to know, I want to know, even though it's sort of let go, there is some sort of tension.
Okay. Yeah, what's the worst that can happen?
For that background noise. I'm almost like not getting a response when I ask it that. I don't know if it's unwilling to communicate that, or I'm not asking it properly, or
You could ask that.
feel like it wants me saying now to believe. It is about, or telling me feeling like there's a doubt of making these changes.
Okay. Yeah. So this part, it's detecting other parts that have doubt in making the changes, and it wants to convince you to believe in going for them.
That's the impression I'm getting right now.
Would it be useful to learn more about the doubt, or to try to make that the target and See what that part has to say?
Yeah.
Okay. Doubting part, where are you?
It is almost my shoulder, still the left side, not the heart, now not the arm, but like anything, the shoulder or armpit.
And how are you feeling towards it?
I'm good, and I think it's receptive. So
What does it want you to know?
I'm getting a phrase, a sentence, which is last. Last is not an option.
Last is not an option?
Yeah, maybe it's telling me finishing last is not an option, or being behind is not an option.
Does that mean like compared to other people? Or is there some other meaning?
It doesn't really feel like a comparison directly to other people, but I feel inevitably it is a comparison.
Okay. You can check with it. Like, yeah, if it's last, who else is in line? What does last mean?
Feeling like it's trying to tell me that last is when I break down, or I guess succumb to a a goal, or yeah, or that's what I'm getting. Yeah.
Okay. Does it make sense to you?
Yeah, I'm already trying to ask, like, what's wrong with breaking down? Hmm. I think it's like letting me know that I guess breaking down is not part of my healing. Get get the words healing when I ask what's wrong with breaking down.
Mm-hmm. And are there specifics about what needs healing?
I feel like it is sort of telling me or guiding me that it would be spiritual healing.
Okay.
So Yeah. I sort of agree.
Well, I'm curious what that looks like, but you don't need to explain to me. As long as it makes sense to you and you're communicating with that part. So it's trying to protect you from an unhealed, a broken down place spiritually.
Yeah, I think it's emphasizing maybe this idea of nurturing myself, the soul, what have you. Spiritual healing is something that I'm not, there's a lot of forms.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm curious now in general what spiritual healing is attuned or aligned. What can I do if I need that?
Maybe another way to ask is like, what is the opposite? What does unhealed spiritually look like or feel like for this part?
It is like falling into a hole or a void.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm getting.
Is that sensation connected with anything or any part, anything in the past? Is there a time when that felt really strong?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's interwoven into my everyday, or like at least once a week. I feel like I go into at least one hole. So, um, mm, yeah,
Okay. So this part's trying to protect you from that?
yeah, I think, yeah, in general, I'm now, this conversation with this part now is like making me think of those mini holes or holes that I go into.
Yeah. Would it be useful or, yeah, does it resonate at all to see the going into the hole as being blended with some other part?
Yeah, I definitely think that being in a hole is blended with the other parts for sure, and maybe some of those parts feel more in their habitat in those holes when those holes occur.
Right.
And I can think about that as, when I had these certain health problems these past few months or on the mend, it's like physically my body was in a hole, mentally, parts, not even mentally, but certain parts wanted to go down and deeper into this hole or felt comfort in this. And being in that hole, as much as it could be restorative, I think when I look back, I could be more mindful of the consequences for other parts.
Mm-hmm. So there are parts that feel comfortable or are, that's their area, is in the hole. When you're blended with them, you're in there with them. You feel like you're not being mindful. And this part sees that as the unhealed spiritual state.
Yeah, I think you caught it. I think that unhealed spiritual state is recognizing or part of or informing me of recognizing these holes better, or maybe seeking comfort, or think maybe letting me know maybe I shouldn't provoke certain aspects of going into depths of, let's say, sitting on the couch for 15 hours or doing something like online gambling, which I was doing last month quite moderately.
Yeah. I wonder if that's part of the getting back in routines part also has that same kind of, that's what it wants you to avoid by having the routines.
Yeah, I think in a way, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting though. Now I'm thinking like, because I'm in discomfort, I'm going to go into a hole that maybe comforts one part, but discomforts others, including my body.
Okay, so you mean like when you're sitting on the couch, you're comfortable, but that can also be going into a hole? Is that what you mean?
If I were to use, like, let's say my health problem as this trailhead into a hole, this discomfort, and then there's something almost like a, I don't know, strong attraction to, I don't want to call it some sort of nihilism, but like, yeah, definitely digging deeper into a discomfort. Sorry, I'm like thinking about all those, how I guess enhance or like go deeper into, I guess, these spiritual dilemmas.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to keep suggesting that, you know, if it's useful to think of those, you know, the nihilism or whatever as a part. It's kind of the part in the whole, and perhaps being able to meet it as a part and see what you can do for it.
Yeah.
Does this doubting part trust you to do that?
Yeah, I think that I can, because, yeah, the doubting part is open, sort of it's making its way on the sidelines,
Yeah.
trying to access one of the parts, or the part of this nihilism, which feels like maybe actually parts of different parts, but maybe I can find one part that's more that nihilism.
Yeah, you might kind of think about being in that place, like whenever you were last in it, and then just see what the strongest, sensation in the body is when that comes up.
Yeah, I feel like this part is center of my chest, almost like my whole rib cage center. It is again telling me, like, push buttons, try to get results, do results. I like want things rapidly. I feel like it's frantic.
How are you feeling towards it?
A little bit scared in a way. Like, I'm like, chill out.
Yeah, so the concern is that this part will be too strong.
And I hate to bring up religion. I feel like it's the devil.
Yeah.
There's like a sinister, like, press buttons, do whatever, get there. All I think of is, like, again, the gambling. Press these buttons, wait till this thing shows up, and here's the result.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to be like, hi, like, hello, I'm here.
Well, yeah, see if you can just ask the fear part to step back. See if you can just maybe say hi to that part first and let it know. Invite it to notice you. Just want to make sure that you have permission from these protective parts.
Somehow feel like this part is actually 30. And it's also like, I feel like it is showing me, like, myself as almost a toddler, like 3 years old or something.
Did you say the part is 30? Like 30 years old?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what does it want you to know about the toddler?
It's like, I feel like not as holding the child as a hostage, but I feel like it is presenting this like very immature self from ages ago. And telling me to look at the full picture of it.
How do you respond to that?
I'm sort of taken back because I don't think about myself as a 3-year-old per se, or that early sense of self.
Does this part, does it protect the 3-year-old?
I think so. Like, like I almost feel like it's kidnapped.
Yeah. And what are its concerns if you were to connect with that 3-year-old, if it let it loose?
The concern is to be what you were before.
Saying that's a bad thing?
Yeah. But I think it's like interesting because it's like, oh, it's a comparison with a sense of self that I feel is so ancient that I connect with through different parts on different levels. But in this instance, this part is almost really like bringing me to this image or this time that is, and in this manner that is very unexpected. Like I haven't thought about my 3-year-old self like this before.
Yeah.
I'm sort of shocked.
You okay with it?
If this is part of spiritual healing, sure. Yep, I'm okay with it.
Okay. You can always step back. So yeah, I'm curious what this part, I mean, it sounds to me like this part has a concern that if it lets loose of the 3-year-old, if you are more in touch with that, there are qualities about this young part that are dangerous or painful.
Yeah, I think what it is provoking. Like this part's sort of provoking me in this way that really is the theme of or like this major thing that I guess I have worked or discussed through parts and general therapy, which is like not knowing or being uncertain and not knowing what to do when not as a young adult or a child or a teenager. I feel like that was always the issue, that I didn't know. Now it's sort of, I think, taunting me with even a more vague, or like this time where I definitely didn't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
I mean, the concern that it has, or the motivation that it has.
It makes sense. It's just a little shocking. Almost, yeah, maybe I'm thinking this is a good shock in a way, because I don't really think about this innocent, really young version of myself when I compare, if I, in my life, compare myself to different times. I really actually don't as much compare myself to
this part's kept it kidnapped.
Yeah.
And it sees it as not knowing what to do, and you see it as innocent.
Yeah, I definitely see the child as being innocent, because it's kidnapped by this beast. Sorry, part. But yeah, B, it's a very vulnerable being, this child. But yeah, I don't know what to say.
The part that's kidnapped it, how old does it think that you are?
Yeah, today's age, 30, 31.
Okay. Mm-hmm. How does it like its job?
I get it saying, "Oh, I don't know." Sure, I guess it doesn't really have a stance on if it likes the job. I mean, it seems like it likes the job.
Yeah, maybe just stay with that. Is there something else it would rather be doing with its energy if it didn't have to work so hard? Protecting you or keeping this 3-year-old at bay?
I don't think it has any intention on changing its job. And I'm fine with that. I think.
And is that what it's saying? I'm only asking because you're answering with I think it's fine with it. I think it's okay. So is that coming from the part?
The part feels pretty firm with being this terror. Myself, yeah.
Sorry, it feels firm about it, but how does it like it? Like, you know what I mean? I can see that it sees it as important, or it's, entrenched. But what's it like for this part to have to do that?
Well, I think it likes it. I think it has some sort of pleasure.
See if you can get a response directly from the part, more about its experience.
In terms of this baby, it's saying, well, I have this baby because no one else has it.
Yeah. So it sounds like an imposition. It sounds like it's kind of forced into that role.
Almost with that dialogue, I'm recognizing that. I mean, there was others that had this baby. My family.
Yeah. And then at some point, it felt the need. Others weren't caring for it appropriately, and so it took over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just let it know you see that. And can you find any appreciation for its intention and show it that?
Yeah, it's easy to actually, for me to give it good attention now. And so I'm grateful that all this parts work and any of this spiritual stuff I've done, you can have this conversation with this part and give it wow, yeah, this is a pretty deep part.
How does it like being with you in this way, in this not quite so opposing way? I mean, is it softening up?
Yes and no. The part's still taunting me, but I think there's an acknowledgement of mutualness that now has been initiated.
And what would it be like for this part? This is a question for the part. What would it be like for it to release some with the 3-year-old and to trust you to take care of it some?
It is attached to the job.
Sure.
It doesn't want to release the child.
Fair
it
enough.
would feels like it's telling me that I need to still put the work in before I can have custody over the child.
Yeah. What is the work?
The work is approaching this comfort of stability and being in it without question. I think I have it. I mean, I have stability now.
Can you say that last part again?
I have the elements of stability.
Yeah.
And
you have a perfectly working self.
yeah,
I mean, I don't mean to dismiss if there are other aspects of your life that don't feel stable, if it doesn't feel like the right time, that could all be very valid. You know, and sometimes external circumstances can make this kind of work kind of impossible, or very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want to just, I'm not just, saying that doesn't matter, but fundamentally, from the inner perspective, you're already qualified. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if any of that is useful or the part responds to that.
When I access this part and seeing what this idea of comfort or even salvation, I almost feel like it's just a sliver. It's very narrow. It is seeking a very specific feeling or idea, which I don't think is really possible.
I'm going to throw a wild card out there, if it's all right with you. Would this part be okay with you and it asking the 3-year-old for input on the arrangement? I just kind of have this idea that parts know what they need to heal. And so it could be useful to, just get that input directly from the part in question.
Yeah.
And if that sounds like a bad idea, throw it out.
No, in discussions with this thing, I'm just going to call the devil because I've called it devil, but I think I'll stop saying the communication between me and this child, this part is very reluctant, but there's words that come through. It's
Also, so the part could do the communicating with the child if it doesn't feel safe letting you do it.
It's good to offer. The child is happy. Feels like in this discussion, the child doesn't appear to be agitated that it's kidnapped. Maybe the child is used to this figure part.
Sounds like it. Maybe this part that's a devil on the outside is doing a great job of keeping this child.
Yeah.
I don't know. Providing for it.
If anything, I just appreciate this platform at the moment of free, just devil and child and me coming together.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It definitely feels like a platform, and I've never had this kind of three-way conversation. It feels very like a stage, and it feels like I don't want to call it a standoff, but it feels like we're just staring at each other.
Maybe you could just ask the part what it needs from you going forward.
sharing with me the same imagery that I was discussing of this like sliver. Almost feels like if a room was dark and there's just the door is ajar and there's this sliver of light, and that sliver is a representation of this comfort, this almost unattainable force. It wants me to somehow pursue that. This weird sliver, this very specific arrangement. I almost feel like it is an ideal, some sort of ideal that it wants me to capture and
mm-hmm. How do you feel about just exploring that more with this part over time?
Good. I feel like it'd be, I do want to explore this over time. And again, I think that's part of the spiritual, what my armpit was telling me.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you're on the right path? Or a right path?
Ultimately, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've learned more of the context of it now, or like I feel like there's more of a ground of this path, knowing the path, feeling the path. In general, and perhaps this part can broaden that sliver and past that too. Maybe the sliver is more, can be widened and see this path. No pressure to this devil.
Yeah. And does the devil part feel open to continuing that work with you? Or revealing what it has and going forward? Is there anything else it needs or wants?
As soon as you said that, I almost not challenged, but I was like, what if there was another child for you to have captive? And it almost can't handle that either. Like, or it's telling me that it can't do that kind of job. I can only do one. What's interesting, I feel like when I say this is, it doesn't resonate as solely me, like that, you know, like it can only do one. And I mean, when I vocalize that, it doesn't sound like that child has to be me. So maybe I can replace the child with some other child.
Yeah, prisoner exchange.
Yeah, that's very, yeah. They just did that with that person, that basketball player.
Yeah.
In America.
There might be some truth to that. There might be the the job that this part is doing it's possible that it could be fulfilled another way, and I think that's just kind of one way of looking at it. Of if you like your job, okay, is there another way you'd like to do it, or just kind of giving it that menu?
Did my connection go?
I can hear
Sorry.
you, although it did get choppy for a second. But I can hear you.
My apologies. It cut off when you said this part could be, and then I couldn't hear the rest.
I was saying that it's possible, or it could be possible, that this part has a desire to act in the way it's acting, and that could be, like you were saying, supplemented or replaced with something else. That kind of goes back to the question of, what would you rather be doing? Is there something this part would rather be doing if it didn't have to deal with this particular child?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is interesting. I'm going to put in my calendar to talk to this part.
That's great.
I need to get into that more. Wow, great session. Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. That was something.
Yeah, that was...
Congratulations.
Thanks on my captured child.
Yeah, well, and now you have captured an appointment with the devil, so sounds like some spiritual healing is
yeah.
Sounds like you're doing it.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is the journey. Very cool.
Keep me posted.
I will.
Yeah, get back on that calendar. Love to hear how it goes.
I'm going to do it now.
Cool.
All right. Have a great
nice
night. Yeah.
All right, thank
See
you.
you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.